Cool. I was just scrolling here, I found this quite funny. Sermon GPT. This tool quickly creates sermon outlines. I just see some priests like going, yeah, this Sunday's going to be wicked. Yeah, so I found a funny thing literally yesterday or whatever, and I've been aware of this. So this tech is old, where you can basically train a robot or a 3D printer to mimic your handwriting style. So it's like a software you can do, and this 3D printer can basically write in your thing. Well, someone created or connected that with ChatGPT-3 and got it to write an essay made up by GPT, but written in his own handwriting. And it's like that. It's pretty good.
Does he also like misspell things?
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, if you're a teacher, like, you're gonna have to just go, right, coursework and homework is now not allowed. Sit in a freaking room and I'm going to watch you write. Like, that's the only way to, like...
That's the arms race that we're going to enter,
It is.
It's not good, is it?
It's not. It's scary. Anyway, yeah. Right. So we're going to be pretty speedy, because this next session we're going to have to end by 5. Who knows this guy? Who likes this guy? No. This is a bit of an echo chamber, obviously. So I spent a lot of time researching what this guy says and what his organization says. And one of the things, basically, I spend a lot of time looking into what has been said in Davos each year, because you can see behind what they're saying pretty clearly sometimes. Because modern day conspiracy theories are not conspiracy theories. It's literally out in the open, and you basically see what they say, and you just go, right, okay, let's extrapolate it. So for best part of, I think, 30 odd years now, there's been a Marxist or communist idea of, I think they used to call it 20-minute cities, where you basically force people into conurbations and not let them leave to a degree. It is a very communist type thing, and it's been around for a long, long time. But what's happened is that this idea of forcing people into built-up areas and basically not letting them leave is now slowly becoming a reality, because the World Economic Forum are now trying to force and roll out 15-minute cities everywhere. So the concept of a 15-minute city is to help climate change. And what they do is they take a city and they'll chop it up into parts, into districts, and in each 15-minute district, it'll have everything someone needs within a 15-minute bike ride. So all of your groceries, your shopping, your gym, whatever, everything that a human needs is accessible within 15 minutes. So they're doing it to cut traffic and within a city, and stop pollution and blah, 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 and you can then de-road parts of the city, all that sort of stuff. However, many scientists have already shown that 15-minute cities actually would contribute more CO2, more carbon monoxide than it actually saves, because people have jobs, right? They have to commute. They have to drive places which are normally not within 15 minutes of your house. And they're saying, oh no, you just take the ring road around, the cities to your job or wherever. But they've already done massive studies saying that, well, if people did that, people are going to end up driving further to their job every single day, and lots, vice versa. Now in the UK, the pilot program which they're really trying to force on is Oxford. So, yeah, Oxford is basically, they're trying to be the first pilot project for these 15-minute cities, and they got fierce rejection. Something like 93% of the residents said, hell no. But what happened? They went, okay, we're going to do it anyway. So, and there was also a government petition, which the government just disbanded and said, no, we're cracking ahead. So even though pretty much everyone in Oxford that participated in this survey said no, they're still doing it. So these are the districts that they're planning to chop it up into. So apparently you can reach everywhere, or everywhere that everything you need within a 15-minute bike ride. But here's the crazy bit, and this is nothing to do with climate change. The more you look into it, it's all about systematic control of the populace. So I'll read out bits of this which I think are important. Yeah. These plans have been proposed to intention of reducing traffic, fighting climate change and promoting more sustainable travel. Sure. So they add traffic filters. So in all of these things, what they have to do to enforce this is increase, on average, CCTV by 600 times, not percent, times. And they have to put traffic filters everywhere, i.e. blockades, basically. So traffic filters mean that private cars cannot go through certain locations without a permit, which would have to be applied for by residents or those that live locally. They would generally operate 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. The fine for cars that go through, despite not being exempt, would be £70. Cars would be monitored by automatic number plate recognition. The aim is to reduce travel levels across the city, allowing for better bus system and more incentives to walk or cycle, as well as helping tackle air pollution. If approved, there would then be a 6-month trial in the summer of 2023. That was alarming. You then dig deeper. People can drive freely around their own neighbourhood, i.e. district, that they're forced in, and can apply, keyword there, apply, for a permit to drive through the filters into other neighbourhoods for up to 100 days a year. That's basically twice a week. This equates to an average of 2 days per week. Oh shit. The alternative is to drive out onto the ring road and then back into the destination. A maximum of 3 permits a household will be allowed where there are several adults with cars registered to the address. That is a massive infringement on your own sovereign freedoms. Like, I know some of you think I'm a kook that just hates the WEF regardless of what it says. It's not. There's a lot of stuff that I actually like that the World Economic Forum says. Just the stuff I don't like is freaking scary. Because if they allow this in Oxford, no matter how well they say it, like no matter how much people hate it, whatever, it will most likely be proclaimed a success. And then it's just a slippery slope until fast forward 10, 15 years, every major city is a 15-minute city. Would you like, a lot of you who are here in Norwich, like, just think of your average travels. Like, I don't actually leave my house often, but when I do, I'm going through several districts of Norwich regularly. Just to go to the office, I'd have to go through a couple of districts. To go and play snooker with my friend, that's a couple of different districts. Yeah. I think it would also hinder businesses as well. What about salespeople and business development managers that have to go and literally door knock, or not door knock, but client meetings, all that sort of stuff. I think this is scary. And it's not just the UK, it's in every country or basically the UN, really, which the WEF has its clause in. So I just want to be really clear here. All you just need to do is just propagate or just forecast where even the benign situation where every city, let's say within 15 years, is a 15-minute city, and let's say there isn't any resistance on your driving permits and stuff like that, it's still not good. And if you're not a good boy or girl and you don't take your jabs and you don't do this, whatever, they'll just deny your driving permits. So what's the knock-on effect? Okay, people that can afford to not live in a city, because they'll probably give it other incentives to live in a 15-minute city, like cheaper, blah. But those that can afford to not live in a city, they're probably going to put a countryside tax in. They'll probably say living in the countryside harms the environment, so we're going to increase your taxes, a carbon tax or something, because you're being deadly to the countryside. I don't know, because you're driving in, So that's the slippery slope it leads to. So for context, it's not climate change I have a problem with, it's the tyrannical control mechanisms megalomaniacs will do in the name of climate change. Yes, Reese?
They can filter into CBDCs as well.
Yeah, exactly. They'll turn your money off if you're... Exactly.
So it just won't work. Your money won't work outside you.
exactly, your money will not work outside of your district, or stuff like that. And this ties in with that CBDC talk I did at the previous cuddle. So, and that's why they want the CBDCs. It's just a control mechanism. They can't enforce this without CBDCs, really. So that's my little, and there's loads of stuff, but I just thought, we have to.
Has it been approved?
Yes, it's going ahead.
So that's happening in this year?
Yes, it's already happening. They're already putting in traffic filters to the point where local residents are destroying the bollards, and they're now putting in CCTV to protect the bollards, to try and catch the people that routinely destroy the bollards.
There was also a video on one of the Telegram groups that's basically an ambulance was trying to access one of the areas, but because the bollards were in the way, they couldn't get through.
Shit.
It's already happened in London during the lockdowns. They shut down roads randomly and people were driving through them and ambulances were stuck and they had to remove them. So I don't think this will...
No, and in the short term, it actually creates more traffic. Because the amount of cars hasn't reduced. It will only reduce traffic if you...
Increased during COVID.
Yeah.
Much more traffic going through them.
It will, because it only works if you massively reduce the amount of cars on the road at the same time, which doesn't work. So, anyway, that's my little rant out of the way. Next one, fancy a flirt with cable. So, first person who can tell me what cable is. You're a mentor. Okay, we'll do another. We need another. No, okay, we'll think of something. We've got teddy bears to give away here. I need to think of something. So, as you know, I cannot talk about regulated assets. I can't show you a chart of, let's say, pound dollar, and talk about it or draw lines on it, because that's technically illegal, which is why we've obviously moved into crypto trading, etc. But, from a educator perspective, and I mean this in the nicest way, but also a wrist slap, I think the level of trading knowledge in the community is a lot worse now than what it was when we were FX traders. Do you agree with that, Kevin? Yeah? Because you've got your finger in the pulse.
I wouldn't say that, but yes.
Yeah. And so my job is, you're here to learn how to trade, obviously. My job is I need to do whatever it takes or what I can so you know trading better. Now, obviously, not everyone is here to trade. They don't want to trade. That's fine. But for those that want to learn to trade, I think that the level of knowledge of trading has reduced a lot. Now, ultimately, that's my fault because we're very crypto-centric, which, and the future is crypto trading. But I think then we do need to maybe try and find a way that we can trade currencies again, so FX, but in a way that I'm not going to get sued by the FCA. And do you all know about the FCA investigation? Some don't. So what happened is that there was a troll, an anonymous troll, wrote into the FCA saying, Siam kid does this, and made a load of lies, basically, that I am doing all sorts of bad things. Then on the 23rd of December 2021, I had the first letter by the FCA saying, you're under full investigation for doing this. And I was like, oh, this is bollocks. So, and that was just before Christmas. I was like, oh, for God's sake. And they had a 6-month investigation, and we literally had to lift our skirt up and share everything. And then they went, oh yeah, you're not actually doing anything wrong. I know. And all they left was, investigation done, you're fine, but just make sure you don't, They said the worst thing that I did was I was looking at, charts of, say, euro dollar or the S&P 500 and drawing patterns on it. Because they said drawing patterns on a chart may be incentivizing people to short or long or blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, fine. Just don't do that. I was like, okay. So that was it. So an anonymous troll basically caused shitloads of grief. So that's why, we can't do that. So, but there is a gray area. I'm always looking for gray areas. So but I have to be very careful because let's say I'm looking at euro dollar or cable or the S&P 500 and I personally place a trade, which I can't text out. I can for crypto, but I can't for FX. But then they said a sufficient amount of time after the trade has been placed is okay. But what is a sufficient period of time? If I'm trading on the daily chart and then the next day I say, here's a trade I placed, is that sufficient? One day on a daily chart is only 1 bar. 1 bar is insignificant. But yeah, so I just want you to know that these are sort of the things I have to sort of carefully navigate without ending up in jail or fined or whatever. So, but I do think you in your own time should carry on FX trading, and I will do a full-on FX, get FXCM all back up and tutorial and all that stuff, because with crypto, as we all know, it's plus or minus, give or take a few months, but it booms for a year, crashes for a year, consolidates for a year. That's the crypto cycle effectively, but it all adds up to a 4-year cycle to a degree. But with currencies, it just ebbs and flows, regardless of what goes on. And I, every now and then, have a little flirt with FX, because it's like my long lost lover that I used to play with or whatever. And one of my favorite pairs was always pound Aussie, because it's beautiful. But I was thinking, just look at cable, like the second biggest pair on the planet. And I just love the way cable ebbs and flows, right? So this is the daily chart, okay? And the thing is, if you were to apply the most basic baseline support and resistance sort of strategy, I mean, it's beautiful. So when I say the most basic, as in when a key level of support or resistance is breached, you just bug out. So you could basically have a system at which using AutoZMIT, you can create to get in once it starts trending, and then you ride the trend. And then when it exits the trend, that will be your trigger. Now the exit requirement would be, that's up to you, with that, whether you're using a Kobo to get out or whatever. But it helps you ride stuff. Now, obviously, when it's choppy, then you can, do standard, ranging type stuff. Whoopsie. But just look at how lovely. Trackpad is always hard to use. Even like stuff like that, that's a lot of pips, by the way, going from 1.5 to 1.6. There's 1,000 pips there. Like, there's opportunities that you can, run that trade, and once it breaches, get out. Oopsie. But you can see, even with like horizontal stuff, like when things are breached, it may not look like this level here has much legs in it, but that's a lot of pips there. There's still profits there. And especially when it trends beautifully. And it's unlike crypto, it doesn't matter what the world is doing. Currencies ebb and flow, and there is huge amounts of profits around here. So it just, and pound Aussie, which used to be my favorite, is even better. But so somewhat of a volatile pair, cable, it still trends beautifully. Like back in the day, my old trading methods were all long-term trend trading methods. Just look at, it's just easy. It really is. You as soon as base support is broken, you get out. And look at all the profits there. Again, on the downside. So, and I was looking, relatively recently, we breached this area a year and a bit ago, and it's just been down ever since. And now, is it creating a new trend? I'm not allowed to say. So, yeah. And the thing I used to love about pound Aussie is that, so it's geared differently, so you get a lot more pips, but when it trends, it frickin' trends. I mean, So I will be getting more into FX, but I just need to find a way that is legal, so just bear with me. But I will start I'll have to make an FXCM update again, or like a tutorial and stuff like that. So, but to cut your teeth on AutoZMIT and get used to strategies and stuff like that, it's a great place, as in currencies. So maybe we need to go back to our roots, just to really every person in this room that is an active trader should know the formula for expectancy at a bare minimum, and then know how to work out their expectancy and understand average adverse excursion and average favorable excursion, because they're the ways that you can pimp out your your trading strategies. Oh, and by the way, Erjan isn't here, but he won the Trader of the Month, or the trading competition, so he won £1,000. So for the video, everyone, big round of applause for Erjan. So he, again, watched the Trading Pub on Thursday. We went into that, and yeah, so definitely watch the Trading Pub. So that's my little teacher.